Hey guys, this is the Mechabyte podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Grant.
I'm Jacob.
And I am Matt. And just to break the ice really quick, I have a question for you guys. If you're going to go ahead and have sex with a mermaid, would you rather have the classical mermaid, top half woman, bottom half fish? Or would you rather have top half fish, bottom half woman, and why?
I'll start this one off first. So I'll
Question. That's that.
okay.
It's kind of awkward.
No, it's
kinda
not
like-
awkward. It's funny. Just
So-
go ahead. Just answer it.
I think it would be a little weird looking at a fish. So I'll go with the top half because you know it's up there too.
I'm thinking bottom half, actually. Bottom half woman.
Why?
I don't know.
I'll
You
stick
know.
with top's good for me.
All right. See, I have a variety of opinions. First off, I know I've actually heard this question on other podcasts before, and I want to bring up a variety of points. First off, like if you have like say top half woman and you're getting like a BJ in a jacuzzi or something, like normally they have to come up for air, but if you have a mermaid, she can stay under there as long as she wants. But then again, like if you do have a top half fish, then you do have to keep looking at that fish. But then still, a benefit of that is you don't hear them talking that much. So hey, they're not nagging you. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah.
So we want to talk about the first topic, which is the future of iOS. Dan, what's your opinions?
So they've done a couple things with iOS. First of all, they've integrated all of your devices into one pretty much with what's called iCloud. So what most people think is cloud computing is basically a hard drive in the sky. No. What Apple is doing is they're just synchronizing all of your devices. For example, if you download a song on, say, your Mac, it'll download it automatically to all of your other devices automatically. And Matt, can you talk about iTunes Match a little bit?
Well, sure. Also with iCloud, I've always been a fan of Dropbox ever since I started using it. Basically, just because you have that portability where you upload at one place and it's there everywhere. It's really convenient. So I really hope that they do have some sort of tool to actually go ahead and choose what goes in your 5 gigabytes of cloud storage. But then, sorry, what was the next part?
Also, there's in September, once they roll it out, you can send documents to the cloud. So if you write a Pages document on your Mac, it'll go right to your iPhone and iPad automatically because Apple just recently made an update to make it universal for the iPhone and iPod Touch. So let's talk about the other competitors in the cloud space. So
Actually, can I add something to the future of iOS?
Yeah, go ahead. Just
The future of iOS, I think, is going to be like, it's when, like, currently Lion is kind of like where iOS and OS X come together. You have many elements of each other together, and it's like Apple's like moving towards all devices running like the same type of operating system, so you get a very streamlined experience, and that's iCloud is helping doing that by having everything constantly synced and everything's right there at your fingertips, whether you're on your iPhone, your Mac, or your iPad. It's just always there.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But one thing that I feel like they left out for the iOS that they said they might even put it in for iOS 5 that is going to be released in September is the update to multitasking. And a lot of people were kind of expecting that to change, but it didn't really roll out. I don't know if you guys have any other opinions on that.
well,
But
there are.
I just feel like it has to change.
I feel like we haven't got all of iOS 5 yet because it's.
I mean, yeah, there's only been one developer
This
preview
is
and
their
stuff.
kind of like their April thing they usually
Right.
do, and just giving developers a preview of what most of the things iOS is going to have,
yeah.
and like the voice recognition software stuff, like how they bought Nuance or whatever. I feel that has to be integrated somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they'll do that with the next version.
Yeah,
6 maybe.
yeah, and maybe the next one. I hope to get some sort of UI change because the icons worked really well for the early devices when the processors weren't completely like up to speed with what they are today. But now I think like in comparison to other operating systems, I think they need to change it up a little bit. Maybe like add like an add some sort of widgets, kind of make it mix things up a little bit, kind of like Mac OS X.
Well, somewhat there are widgets. If you pull down the notification bar, you can see the weather and stocks. But those aren't really widgets. They sort of are, though.
Yeah, but like in I actually had the opportunity to go ahead and try out Max X Lion, and I wasn't really a fan. I think they really kind of like dumbed everything down. And I know they're doing this with Windows 8 too, with all the tablets, and I know we're going to talk about that later. And I probably wasn't supposed to talk about that yet, but I really feel like they're going ahead and dumbing down the operating system, just to consumers. Because like when you buy a computer, in my opinion, it's supposed to be like more powerful than maybe like an iPad, and really like everything in OS XX line. It is mostly touch based, and it's pretty much like an even bigger iPad.
Right.
And so people think that the iPad is a big iPod Touch. So you're pretty much saying that the Mac is a really, really big iPod.
Yeah.
even like the iMac 27-inch, but
Yeah.
So let's talk about the next topic, which is competition in the cloud. The main other two besides Apple are Amazon Music or whatever they're calling it, and Google Music. So,
can I add something to that? They I don't know if you guys saw it, but around the internet, they said there was an article that said that Best Buy introduced their cloud-based network.
Yeah, it's called like Best Buy Music Cloud or something.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
I don't
that.
know. I don't
think
know
that'll
how
take-
much storage space you get. I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but it looks pretty cool, and that's definitely something that could compete with iCloud.
Yeah. I actually yesterday I went ahead and I received a Google Music beta invite from Google, and I went ahead and tried that out, and I really like the interface. It's all HTML5 based, so if you go ahead, even if you have, say, one of those Chromebooks, you can actually go ahead and listen to all your content online. And I don't really think this is a competition with Amazon. I think Google and Apple, Google respectively has all the server space and they have a lot of money, and Apple also has money, but they have the users. And so if Google can actually come up with an app for iOS, I think they'll be really successful, just because of the fact that there's not really a limit, or as far as I've encountered, there haven't been any limits on the amount of stuff you can upload to Google Music.
well, it is beta, so
Yeah.
you don't know yet.
And also, I just don't like with the Google Music. Like, you actually have to upload your library.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
not just automatically found by iTunes. And that's something I wish Apple would add. Like, if you had a song that like a friend made,
Yeah.
like you could upload that to your iCloud.
Well, I think they're
Right.
actually doing that too. Like, if it doesn't match, you actually have the option to go ahead and upload that. But one of the things I was talking with Dan before this was actually piracy, and a lot of people
Yeah.
are really mad, just like music publishers and stuff, because if say you want a song, but you don't, you go ahead and find it on the internet, and it's not the highest quality one, but it's just enough quality so that you can go ahead and match the one that's in the iTunes library. Then what happens then is you actually go ahead and in the cloud, you're actually given access to that higher quality song that you didn't pay for.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't they kind of talk about that at WWDC though?
See, I don't
As
know.
well.
Like, I watched some of it, but I don't know. I just thought about that, and I read an article about
Yeah.
that as well.
I'm pretty sure they did. They talked about how I don't remember it correctly, but how piracy really plays a role in iCloud.
Mhm.
So
About Google Music, I have an Android phone, and they developed a really great app to go along with their cloud service. So if you just put in your login information, it'll grab all of those songs from the cloud, and everything will just work perfectly. And I think it's a lot better than the previous, than the music players made by third-party companies like Samsung or HTC, etc.
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's talk about the second main competitor, which is Amazon. So, do you guys know a lot about this? Or not really?
Not
I like-
much, just a little bit, but
So, what they've done is you can make an account with Amazon, and I think I don't know how much storage you get for free, but I heard you get a lot.
Yeah,
And-
I think you have unlimited storage for all the music you buy through them, and then for all the songs that you're actually uploading by yourself that you didn't buy from them, you have 5 gigabytes.
I'll
That's
look at
great.
it right now.
It's actually I'm actually on the page. You get 5 gigabytes of free storage, and then you can listen to it from any computer, and then That's pretty much all.
So it's pretty much iCloud, like as
Yeah.
far as storage space goes.
Oh, and if you buy an album from Amazon, I think you get like an extra 20 gig.
20 gig for free.
So I think it's a really great deal that Amazon is doing.
Wow.
And because of the way it's coded, it will work in mobile Safari and your Android browsers.
Which initially wasn't the case. At first, the Amazon Cloud Drive wasn't available on iOS devices, and then they went through and recoded some stuff to make it available for people. But just the whole cloud drive thing, it's similar to Google Music. You actually have to upload everything unless you buy it from Amazon. So all your iTunes stuff, you'd have to spend the time uploading it to their service and not just automatically having it matched by iTunes.
I think that's kind of like a misconception too, because like I know I didn't explain it too well earlier, but basically what it does is you don't have to like manually upload anything yourself. What happens is you download a little application. It's called the like Music Helper, and what it does is you go ahead and select where your music files are located. So I have all my stuff in iTunes, so I just selected that. And basically, it took about 40 minutes, and all my stuff was up there on their servers. Like, I just went through and listened to all their stuff.
And this is for Google Music,
Yeah,
right?
this is for Google Music, not Amazon.
Interesting.
And let's go to one of our other topics: Android phone hardware and versus iPhone.
I saw another article that you guys may not have seen, but the Sears that released their iPhone competitor, it looks exactly like an iPhone, but it runs Android. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was retailing.
It's like a Chinese knockoff.
Right, but it was sold by Sears, and it was retailing for $268. I'm pretty sure.
$2?
No, $268.
It's probably worth that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a review of it online. I think it's called an Airphone 4. It has like the worst resistive touchscreen in the world.
Yeah,
Like,
I hate resistive touchscreens.
I mean, I'm sure it looks exactly like an iPhone 4, but on the insides, it doesn't have the A4 processor chip, it doesn't have the Retina display, and it doesn't have like a multi-touch screen. So
it's it's pretty much impossible to use. I saw a review of it. No good.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
in phones, I think Android's really always gonna have the upper hand in hardware, just because of the fact that like when
it's
you're not
updated so often.
Yeah, you're not Apple. You really have to push your own agenda to get noticed. So while they are pushing like current gen hardware, they're getting those dual core processors in phones. I think they don't really take advantage of them well enough, like Apple. Whereas like Apple develops the OS around the hardware for its phone, and it can easily like incorporate anything that it wants. Phone manufacturers have to constantly try to make their stuff compatible. So like even if they have a cool processor or lots of RAM, it's usually not optimized for the OS, which really takes a toll on just like the user experience. Like, so even though you might have a dual core phone, you're gonna have trouble using it. It might be a little bit laggy, just because of the fact that it's not optimized very well.
Like some of the earlier versions of Android, you could have a octo-core processor and it wouldn't do anything because the software just doesn't work for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And with Apple, they always wait until the technology is ready until they implement it. For example, LTE. They could have taken advantage of it last year, or they could have released a version this June, but they didn't, and probably in September they're still going to be on 3G. And they still took a while to get from Edge to 3G because they thought the technology wasn't stable enough. With Android, the companies pretty much pioneer the technology. Apple pretty much waits until they think it's ready.
I understand what you're saying about LTE, but like for this time around, I wouldn't really say that they're going ahead and just waiting till it matures, rather than the fact that they're just trying to make like a worthwhile upgrade for the next device. Because like they're really following like the same update pattern. With the iPhone 3G to 3GS, it was more speed based, and I think that's what they're going to be doing for this time around. They're adding the A5 chip to the iPhone 5 most likely, or whatever you want to call it, the iPhone 4S. And I think next time around for the 6th iPhone, I think they're going to go ahead and add LTE just as a basis, like it's a worthwhile upgrade.
I agree.
And I think LTE isn't widely available to people in the sense that a lot of iPhone users, like 3G for me is amazing. It's way faster because when our town had Edge, it was just so slow and laggy that 3G is a huge upgrade. And just as a day-to-day 3G user, I have no problem with it. It's pretty much where I live. We don't have the fastest DSL, but it's comparable to the average American's DSL is 3G is.
Yeah. LTE on Verizon actually has some speeds up to 14 megabytes per second, which is what I get for my whole house, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Lucky.
I think I only get like 6 or 8 or something. I don't even get much.
I get like 4, maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty
on a good.
Yeah.
I get like 20 down and like 7 up.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So now let's talk about Apple's cult of personality. I'll try to explain what I mean by that. So,
Apple fanboy.
Yeah,
there you
Apple
go.
fanboys.
Explain.
Like, that's what I hate. Like, it's so annoying how, like, these fans always say, oh, there's nothing better than Apple. Apple products are so awesome. There aren't any problems with Apple. If you buy anything but Apple, you're a complete idiot because Apple's good. Like, it makes no sense to me because there are so many more options out there. And as an example, like, people look for Apple rumors every day, but does anyone really care about Google rumors or Microsoft's rumors? It's all based around Apple.
Yeah, the reason is I think there's kind of like a clout around that, like seeing as how Apple's always been, like I hate to say they're always magical and revolutionary because I know people don't like that, and I don't necessarily agree with that completely, but people have always paid a lot of attention to the stuff that they come out with, and so I think it's grown into what it is today, where people like almost expect it to be covered.
There was someone waiting for the iPad 2 launch for like 4 days. Would you do that like when Microsoft computer was launching? No. No one really does that.
It's like Apple like markets themselves as they're this huge company that just like they draw attention to themselves by like keeping everything so secretive till they let it out. And like
they call it their
iPhone was leaked out last year is that Apple doesn't want people seeing their stuff because it gives like their competitors a step up onto what they're doing, and that's why I think Apple gets ahead every year when they release something. They know their competitors just kind of let things slide, and they don't.
They even get mad. Like, they haven't really focused on this, but Apple doesn't even like the fact that people like post walkthrough videos on iOS 5 and Mac OS X line. They want it to stay pretty much secret to only developers until it's launched.
Right.
So let's talk about the next topic, which is...
Oh, no, I think Jacob was trying to say something.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
One other thing about the whole Apple's a cult thing, like, I like. There's a lot of aspects of like Android and other operating systems I love. It's just Apple has it like they have it perfect. The operating system they designed for their laptops is specifically designed for it. It's not for Samsung laptops, Dell, HP. It's just designed for one. And since it's like streamlining like before, like they know what to do, they know how to make it and how to make it the best.
Yeah, they can perfect it for
one
their
thing.
hardware.
That's why people love Apple so much because it's magical and it works.
And also, I think not even just like saying one is better than the other. It really depends on what you're gonna be doing with it. Because I know for one, I do a lot of video stuff and art, like Photoshop, and so while Windows computer would be fine for that, it just so happens to be that Mac has a couple better programs for video editing. So that's the way I decided to go.
like Final Cut,
Yeah.
for example. So now can we talk about Mac OS X line?
Yes.
Yes,
sir.
we can.
Okay. I think, Matt, are you the only one who's actually
I
used
tried it
this?
out. I was not a fan. Like, I know I explained this a little bit earlier, but I really feel like
Let's expand on it a little more.
Yeah, I really feel like they did like wrong to the user in the fact that they really dumbed it down. Like, people who would get a Mac Pro, they're expecting to get some actual work done with a desktop OS, like Snow Leopard. Snow Leopard is a fine example. But with Mac OS X Lion, they really, like, I know I keep saying this over and over, but they really dumbed it down. Like, all the user interface, it's like big shiny icons. They take up most of the desktop. In Launchpad, I think it just really feels out of place. And
I think
yeah.
one good thing they did with it is mission control. The what's the expose type thing?
I don't remember what it's called. It is pretty cool though. You just
Well,
swipe. It's like a 4-finger swipe down.
And it groups all of the windows together for the same map by the icon, and I think that's sort of more organized, and I think that's one thing they did well with Lion. And I think
the thing I think they're trying to do is I think they're gonna try to go ahead and merge iOS and Mac OS X Lion. Just because of the fact that with iOS 5, I know probably not too many guys who are listening to this podcast have gotten the chance to use it yet, but there are special multitasking gestures for the iPad, and basically all you do is you swipe across the different screens to go ahead and switch programs, and it's exactly the same way in Mac OS X Lion. And I think probably not this year, probably like maybe the next couple years, they're going to be merging them even closer. And what Apple is really trying to do here is just get a bigger cut of money with Mac OS X App Store. Because right now, even with the release of Final Cut Pro, the newest one, they're only making it available through the App Store. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to push that agenda just because of the fact that with each sale that actually occurs on there, they get a big cut of that money. And on top of that, you also have to pay for the developer fees and all that stuff.
From third-party developers.
Yeah, like whereas normally... Right. Yeah. Oh, sorry, someone else go. I've been talking too long.
No, you can keep talking.
All right. Yeah. Whereas normally, like before, third-party developers could go ahead and make their own stuff. They had all the tools right there. Now you have to pay developer fees. I know you have to pay $100 a year, which really that isn't one of the big things. But the thing is now, like Apple takes a cut of each thing, just like the App Store, and it's going to be whereas soon, like they're probably going to merge the Mac App Store and the iOS App Store. Whereas that's really going to be your only option to go ahead and get sales on your with your program is just to sell through them.
I really hope they don't go with the option they did with iOS, which is you're not allowed to download anything from besides Apple stores like iTunes, iBooks, and the App Store. If they do that with OS X, many people are going to be mad because there are so many more things you can get from third-party websites that are not on the Mac App Store.
Right. Now, a big question for you, Matt, is will you download it? I mean, it's probably a pretty easy question for you to answer, but like you said that you don't like it that much. Do you think you'll still download it?
See, that's like depends what applications come out for and like how quickly it's adopted.
Right.
Like, although I really don't like it that much, and I think it's a pain to use it. If the stuff that I need to do is on there, I will have to go ahead and download it. But then again, it would also be nice if someone like not necessarily Apple, because I know I'm not going to be the only one that doesn't really like it that much. If they could somehow like make tweaks to it or something, so it's a little bit more like older versions of Mac OS X. I cannot say that. Yeah, because I really just find the desktop. It was meant to be used like a desktop and not a tablet.
I know that with Snow Leopard, you can type in plenty of things on Terminal, and that can change your UI around however you want. So maybe if you don't like the dumbed downness, as Matt would call it, maybe someone will figure out some Terminal codes and you can make it less dumbed down.
I think it'll take more than that. Because they got the new full screen applications, which really like limits you as to like the point of how much multitasking you can do. Because right now you got the mouse, you can really just quickly switch, but now you're gonna have to take the long time of like swiping through, doing all those keyboard shortcuts, go ahead and switch to the applications, and it really just makes everything take a lot longer than it should.
Right.
And I feel that like this is like OS X Lion is going to be perfect for like consumer. But when it comes to like the power users and people who actually need to use the core system, it's just going to it kind of just pushes them away.
It's going to alienate them.
Exactly.
So do you want to talk about our second desktop operating system, which is Windows 8?
Yeah.
Microsoft is trying to do the same thing with integrating their mobile operating system to their desktop. Can you explain a little bit about it, Matt?
Sure. I actually made a video about this earlier. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it. But what Microsoft's doing is they're actually going ahead and following suit with Windows Phone 7 in the fact that they're adding those
Live tiles.
Yeah, the live tile type notifications to the startup of Windows 8. And it's like a new programming thing. Apps that work now are going to have to be reprogrammed to actually work with those live tile things because they're in JavaScript. And it really, I feel like it's going to isolate a lot of developers who've spent years learning all these old coding languages, and they're going to have to go ahead now and learn completely new ones.
So I think this is...
Oh.
Grant, you go.
Yeah, Grant, go ahead.
Thing about the Windows 8, it's kind of an overlay. You don't have to use it.
Yeah, I know.
The core Windows is still behind there. It's just since since Windows, the ARM thing came out earlier this year, they're trying to push people to build tablets for Windows 8 and showing them that they can have this neat interface, but people can also go back to that core system.
Yeah, I think it's well implemented. I'm not talking trash about the implementation because I think it's really cool how you have like the sliding multitasking and cool stuff like that.
I think this is where computing is headed, where they're trying to implement companies' mobile operating systems into their desktop.
Yeah, like today, computing is definitely going mobile. I know just with Apple alone, because I know I can pull up some statistics on them. Whereas maybe 6 or 7 years ago, it was probably pretty even between desktop and laptop sales. Now, pretty much mobile devices, being like MacBooks and iPhones, pretty much make up all their profit. Where desktops are probably like 10 or 15% now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to one of our last topics, which is the hacking, which is happening in PlayStation and other things like that.
How many times do you think they've gotten hacked?
I think
it's
I
like
think
3, right?
I don't know. I've heard a lot more than that.
Sony's been hacked more than 3.
So many times. They actually had phishing sites. People had hacked into Sony servers, put on their own files to run websites off them. They had phishing sites running off Sony servers, and Sony had no clue about it.
Right.
Like that's how bad it's gotten.
I just hope that they get it figured out, so it doesn't really hurt them in the long run, and especially before like the PlayStation 4 or whatever it's going to be called gets released. Because with this continuing to happen, I feel like people will kind of lose faith in Sony and the PlayStation name.
Oh yeah.
With the
I think
and they're trying to apologize for themselves, and they're offering like 2 free games in the PlayStation Store or something.
Yeah, I know they also have they have like a free identity theft protection or something like that. They give out to
they're offering that now because so many people did get their
credit card
information
numbers
stolen, but
it's
PlayStation who has been hacked. It's like Citibank or whatever. Some bank was hacked. And,
they also hacked the CIA as LulzSec, low security.
But
yeah,
it just
and they spent like
too much time on their hands.
Yeah,
they're sitting around just what site are we going to hack today?
What they were doing is a couple days ago they actually had it was like I don't remember, they had like a special name for it, but they were just going ahead and DDoSing all these sites. With those of you guys who don't know what that is, it's basically sending denial of service, which is like they have the computers like request the stuff, but then they like cancel it. So then the server just gets like completely backed up to the point where it just can't do anything. And they were taking down many sites. They actually had a hotline where you could go ahead and submit a site, and they would actually DDoS that one too. They hit a couple ones. I know they hit the Eve game servers. They also got Minecraft. So yeah, they actually got. They think they got one of the main guys yesterday. I can't even recall the name off the top of my head, but I
bet it's some Russian guy.
No, I think he was definitely from Europe. I think he might be Irish. I don't know.
Not to make any stereotypes.
Yeah, he was like an 18-year-old guy, and he just like I was reading the story. I can't remember his name though. He just like stayed in his room all day because he had like anxiety problems or something, ADD, and that's pretty much all he did was stay in his room.
Yeah, Sony, in their E3 conference, I think, they spent 10 minutes of the keynote just apologizing. and
Yeah.
trying to get people to forgive them. And they're like,
Speaking
oh,
of
yeah.
E3, what do you guys think about the Wii U?
Fail.
Oh man, fail.
Fail. Yeah.
Yes.
See, I think
It's-
they're spending too much time trying to innovate, like, and saying, hey, wouldn't this be a cool idea? Then like, hey, will people actually do this? This isn't really fun.
I like
And
that they're trying to go back to the original way gaming was with the thumbsticks and stuff like that, but the touch screen is not going to work. They should just try to copy other people, not...
And I think that the console itself, like the base station, just looks horrible. It's a lot. Like, I know it might be a little bit more compact, but it looked so much fatter than the Wii
Yeah.
original.
Like-
And
Yeah. Oh.
yeah. No, go ahead. I don't know. I just don't think that was the way to go for them.
I think it's a cool concept that each player has their own screen, but
Right.
the part that they went wrong is that they're actually only sending one of those like screen controllers per console.
Because they're expensive to make.
And
Yeah.
then they're expensive
Yeah,
to
I know.
buy too.
I know they're really expensive, but I think that would have been cool. But I think it would be more fun just playing on a regular controller. I think the position that they're in right now is the fact that they've been behind for a while with the Wii. It was kind of one of those cool, like, hey, you get to try it things, like you buy it and then you don't use it very often. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't used mine for what, 6 months?
I know.
I haven't used my Wii in years. Like, we got it when it came out.
Yeah, same with me.
Used it for then. We used it for about 6 months, and then I don't think we've touched.
It's collecting dust.
Like Rock
Yeah.
Band stuff for it, and then we never touched it again. And then I got an Xbox, and that thing is constantly on, either
Yeah.
doing Hulu or Netflix or something.
Right.
But actually, I think it might be on our living room right now, being used as a Netflix thing.
Yeah, and that's
Just
the thing.
because.
That's
Um,
exactly where mine is.
This Wii and also the next Wii. Well, I think this Wii you actually can watch DVDs. I don't know. I haven't updated the firmware in forever because I never.
It says you can't watch... I
Yeah.
read somewhere you
yeah,
can't
you
watch
can't
DVDs
watch. You can't watch DVDs on it. They're not even letting you watch Blu-ray on the next Wii or the Wii U.
Well,
Yeah, I
this
mean,
is
like-
Sony technology.
Well,
So-
I mean, I know they have to license it, but still, like that's something that like I don't know. I think that should just come standard now, especially DVD. Probably not Blu-ray, but definitely DVD.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the functionality is there. It's just they don't want to take
Yeah.
advantage of it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they don't want to
I
spend
don't-
money on licensing it.
I don't think people will make the same mistake with this Wii. I think they're going to... I bet no one's going to buy it because they'll say, oh, I'll use it for a couple months and then I'll just forget about it because what will happen also is with Nintendo, Nintendo makes something innovative and then Microsoft and Sony make their own better versions of it.
I mean,
For
Kinect
example-
costs like what, $150? It's
Yeah.
a Wii within itself. I think it's a lot better just because you have the voice activation things and you don't have to have controllers, which those add extra costs to you as a user.
For example, Kinect and the PlayStation Move, those are two direct competitors to the Wii.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Kinect's probably one of the best implementations of motion gaming.
Because
Definitely.
it's one of those, you don't have to have controls.
Yeah,
it's
you're
just,
not like
you want-
limited by anything.
It's a one-time buy for the
Yeah,
controller.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo, they spent so much more time talking about the controller than the actual system, which I think was wrong with them. They didn't show off any new games at all. They just showed off some
They
really...
should have gameplay from PS3
Yeah, I
and
know.
X.
I was just gonna bring that up. They didn't even
Bro,
show
I-
gameplay from their own system.
Like, they showed some really stupid little Wii Sports game. It was pathetic.
Yeah, it's just
I think it really
it's
was.
all way overhyped. Like it's gonna be a thing exactly like the Wii, where you buy it. It's pretty cool. You play Wii Sports for a while, and then after a week or two, you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't really any... I think if Nintendo wants to be successful, this is what they need to do. They need to make some type of network where people can interact with each other and play multiplayer, like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network.
I personally think Nintendo's just taking just going way downhill. Because basically the market that they had with even Game Boys, like Nintendo DS, also Nintendo DSi, 3DS, I think that market is actually being eaten into by the iPhone.
You're
I
right,
mean, like-
mobile gaming.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
You're like
Well,
Renko.
the Nintendo DS, before the iPod Touch came out, everyone wanted a Game Boy when they were a teenager or younger, just because it is readily available to everybody. You could go to a Walmart, buy it, and buy games for it.
Yeah.
And now you just go to Walmart, buy an iPod Touch, buy an iTunes card, and
yeah, you can do everything right from your
millions
device.
of games in your hand.
And the PSP is dying so much because it's $40 for a game that probably for an iPad game that's just as good. It's $10 or $5 or even free.
The PSP Vita, though, I'm pretty interested about that. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be successful, but it's definitely a really cool piece of hardware. Like, it's got a big screen. It's got it's pretty much like a better implementation of gaming, just because of the fact that you have like actual buttons and joysticks, and that's one of the main gripes I have with iPhone gaming. Yeah, you have those. You have to do the on-screen controls, and I never really work out for me.
If they don't have like cheap games on it that are good, like it's gonna fail.
Well, I still think they're gonna have like premium games because,
yeah, it's the hardware is able to do it. So,
and you're gonna have like those name games, like the ones that have always been on PSP that actually have like a big team of developers behind it, and you have to have higher prices to pay for all those people working on it.
There's still tons of developers working on games for the iPad and iPhone, like Infinity Blade and like things like that, and like Real Racing, which are two really, really well written iPhone and iPad games.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
Well, I'm not saying iPhone's necessarily going to take over. Like one of them's better than the other. I'm just like I'm trying to. I think it's a niche device where like if you want just casual gaming, pull out your iPhone, iPod Touch, and just do it there. But then again, if you want it like going on like a long bus or plane ride, probably for like 10 hours, where normally you'd probably just like get away with an iPod Touch. But if you want to have that better gaming experience, just pull out your new PSP and enjoy some more more in-depth games, like a better experience.
I agree. So is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not really, not necessarily. I think we wrapped up pretty nicely.
All right.
You guys want to go ahead and say your channels really quick?
Yeah, I'm Jacob from The Latest Tech, youtube.com/The Latest Tech.
I'm Dan, and my YouTube channel is Dan's Tech Help.
I'm Grant, and I do not have a channel.
Okay, so all these people's
sorry, nothing.
That's fine. All these links are going to be in the description, and these are actually all writers from Mechabyte.com, so you can go ahead and check out their work over there.
And Matt, how about you say your channel?
Oh, well, you guys are watching my channel, but it's
yeah.
youtube.com/TechTeenagerTV.
Or you're watching this on iTunes or YouTube.
Yeah. All right, so that's it, guys. Thanks for watching or listening. See you later.